Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to get into comparing two sleeping pads that I have. This is the Klymit Ultralight V SL, and this is the Thermarest Neoair XLite. Pretty popular among thru hikers and just ultralight backpackers in general. Probably the most popular pad for tent campers. The Klymit Ultralight V SL is somewhat new on the market. It's only been out for about 2 years or so. These pads are very comparable in their weight and specifications, so I'm gonna go over what I think the differences are, and which one I think is better for the value and which one might be better for you. So looking at the stats on paper between these two, they are very similar. Dimensionally, they're exactly the same. The Klymit here is 20 inches, which is a little bit more narrow than its predecessor of just the normal Static V and the Static V2. The Ultralight series pads Klymit makes now are a little bit more narrow, so I think they made them to compete with Thermarest here. But dimensionally, 20 inches wide, 72 inches long, and they're both 2.5 inches thick. The Neoair XLite comes in at 12 ounces, and the Klymit comes in at 11.9 ounces, which I actually just weighed these two to see if that weight holds true, or if Klymit is just trying to get that 0.1 ounce lighter than the Neoair just to make it seem a little bit more appealing to people. And what I found was, with the little stuff sack here that the Neoair has, it actually weighed 2 grams less than the Klymit did without a stuff sack. This actually didn't come with a stuff sack. It came with just a little Velcro band that it's buried somewhere. I didn't feel like looking for it. But it didn't come with a stuff sack, and I think it's because I got the Zion Narrows like special edition. You can see it's got some print on here. I think because I got the special edition one, it didn't come with a stuff sack. But anyway, no stuff sack at all. 2 grams heavier than the Neoair. So I'm not sure if Klymit's being totally truthful on their 0.1 ounce lighter sleeping pad here. I think the weights were actually 635 grams and 637 grams on this one. After using this one for probably a solid year, maybe year and a half, and I've slept on the Neoair my last two trips, I think, maybe 3, probably a total of 5 nights on here. I really wanted to do more nights on this and then go back to this before making this video, but I already have a lot to say on it, so I'm just gonna do the video now. The biggest differences between these is the amount of breaths it take to blow up. So I'm gonna blow these up right now and tell you exactly how many deep breaths it takes for me to blow both of these up. Now, I'm a runner, so I have really good lungs, and it might take you more or less breaths to blow these up, and I'm probably gonna get pretty lightheaded trying to do this. But that's all part of the fun. We're going to see how many breaths it takes for each. First up, the V Ultralight SL by Klymit. Alright, so here she is. The memory card in my camera filled up and it stopped recording. Noob mistake there. And I actually lost track of how many breaths I took. I think it was probably around 7 or 8. I've done that test a couple times. If that number is different, or if that's wrong, I'll put the real number right here either way. Yeah, apparently when you're taking deep breaths, you can't really think straight. So let's get the Neoair out of its stuff sack here and blow up this bad boy. Oh man, woo! I'm lightheaded after that one. There it is for the XLite. Definitely a lot of breaths. Once again, I couldn't keep track, so I'll put the number right here on how many breaths it take. Felt like it was at least 13 to 18 breaths on this one for me. But that's, like really huffing it, just getting straight lightheaded. Lot of air. I mean, it definitely feels like it takes almost twice the air. The other one, which dimensionally on the pads doesn't really add up for me, so where is all that extra air actually going? Well, I noticed the very first time I blew the Neoair up that the difference was thickness. Okay, so these pads are both 2.5 inches thick. You can see the Neoair here, which I would say is definitely a true, if not more, than 2.5 inches thick. And the Klymit here looking pretty thin. I'd say maybe 2 inches. Solid half-inch thinner than the Neoair, and you definitely feel that when you're on it. You still don't like feel the ground or anything. It's not necessarily a bad thing for the Klymit because it's not uncomfortable, and although you have all this plush air underneath you with the Neoair, what the Neoair does is it puts you up higher off the ground. And what I found is that being that they're the same width, being that much higher up off the ground with the Neoair, it just feels like you're kind of rolling off of it. I think it's a much harder pad to stay on in the middle of the night if you're rolling around. The Klymit, I feel like if your arms are hanging off, you know, they're only this high off the ground to where you don't really notice it that much. If you put your arms to the side while you're sleeping on this one, it's a considerable drop. So that is something really to consider. As far as comfort goes, I got to give it to the Neoair. It's definitely more comfortable, and it has what the Klymit doesn't, which is a little bit of adjustability. You can let your valve out while you're laying on it and just kind of get a little bit softer if you want. And sometimes I'll play with it a little bit, and I'll go a couple times until it's just that perfect right amount of plushness. As where the Klymit, as soon as you pull the valve here, oh, I forgot how to do it. It's not a twist, it's a pull cap. But as soon as you pull it, it lets out pretty much all the air. Like, it's almost completely empty right now. So once you blow this up, you will not be letting any of the air out to get it softer. What I found also is if you blow it up early in the evening and you get a lot of temperature drops and whatnot, you'll want to blow it back up before you get into it. It's pretty much you blow it up and you're good to go, as where the Neoair kind of has some adjustability as far as comfort goes. Lengthwise, not an issue. The Neoair is the regular size version, the 12-ounce version. So me being 5'7", obviously I'm not hanging off of either end, plenty of space. And if you check out the Neoair here, you see how it kind of rounds out at the top and gets very, very thin at the bottom, which it's really not an issue for your feet. You know, your feet don't hang off the side of your body like your arms do. The Klymit does get a little bit more narrow at the foot box, but is pretty nice and square at the top. I feel like my arms just don't hang off of this as much. I pretty much sleep with my arms folded over a lot of the time anyway. I'm primarily a back sleeper. I'll fall asleep on my back and I'll roll around a little bit in the night. I'll try sleeping on my stomach a little bit. Mostly not a side sleeper, but I do find myself waking up in that position from time to time. So as far as having the same width, the Klymit definitely is just an easier pad to stay on. That little bit extra air inside the Neoair kind of makes it feel like you're on kind of a pool raft. It gives you that pool raft feel where you kind of can roll off really easily. This one, you don't have that. You feel like you're on a completely flat air mattress, and you really have no feeling of like you're gonna roll off. So on the valve topic here again, this one is way easier to blow up, because as you're blowing it up, you can push your tongue down on it to stop the air, and then you click it down, you know, to not lose any air in that last breath when you're pushing it up. I haven't quite mastered the Neoair yet because it's the twist top, so you're kind of always losing a little bit of air while you're trying to twist it up. But that doesn't really make like a huge difference to me, because I usually let a little bit of the air out anyway, just so it's a little bit softer. Now, another pro of the Klymit is way cheaper. I think the Neoair MSRP is like $160 or whatever. Jason Helmandahl, shout out to him, hooked me up with this one for $100. I've been holding out for years just because I'm a bargain shopper and I wanted to find one around that $100 range. So special thanks to him on that. But anyway, $160, that's a lot of money for a sleeping pad. These are, I think, 120 new. I actually found this one on eBay. Whenever I'm looking for gear, I go to eBay and Amazon, first two places I check. Affiliate links down below. Found this one on eBay, 80 bucks. Didn't particularly want the Zion Narrows limited edition version, but it was just the cheapest one on there. So I picked it up. I've been happy with it. I used it several times over the course of the last year, and I do intend on using the Neoair probably in the next couple trips, and then going back to this also to just kind of, you know, see which one I really like better. I can't say that I really like one over the other one, because where the Neoair is just more comfortable in general, it's a lot more to blow up. And I mean, is it worth getting a little lightheaded and spending the extra 30 seconds to a minute to blow it up to get a good night's sleep? For most people, yeah. But if you're doing a lot of high mileage and it's really late and all you want to do is crash at night, no energy at all to blow this thing up. So it's really good, and if you sleep comfortable on a, you know, a thinner air mattress like this, it's a really good option, especially for the budget-friendly backpacker. Does that make sense? Especially for the budget-friendly backpacker? Wouldn't it say it's more friendly to the budget backpacker? The budget-friendly backpacker? Does that make sense? Whatever. So I definitely like both of the pads. There's things I like about both of them. There's really nothing I don't like about either of them. I know a lot of people complain about the Neoair being really a loud pad, and I don't get it. I don't see it at all. I mean, there's not one of these pads that's not like super quiet, so it's really not an issue to me. Plus, I lay down in my tent and I'm on my back and I just fall fast asleep. I joke because I probably fall asleep within 3 to 5 minutes every single night in my bed at home. So I'm a really, really good sleeper. So take that in consideration. But I don't roll around a lot, so the noise has not been an issue for me at all. Yeah, the Neoair is just a tried and true design. So I'm not going to tell you one way or the other which one of these pads is right for you. You know, make that decision on your own if you're in the market for one of these. I will say, if you're a little bit of a bigger guy or a bigger girl and you go for the Neoair, that you might want to go for the wide version. Actually, Jason that sold me this, I think he was opting to get the wider version, and I can see it. I mean, I'm 5'7", I weigh like $140 right now, and I'm not wide built in the slightest, and it's narrow, and I really feel it. It's more on this than the other pad. So you know, take that in consideration. Take that for what it's worth. Well, that about does it for this video. Just wanted to get that off my chest. Like I said, I'm going to be going back and forth between these pads, so this will not be the end of this sleeping pad series. I'm going to do probably another one maybe like in 6 months or a year if I get the chance to sleep on both of them, you know, one than the other, because I really want to compare them, because I'm really not sold on one or the other. I got a couple big trips coming up, and I'm still on the fence as to which one I'm going to take. You know, it comes down to which one you get a better night's sleep on. Well, that's it for the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it, and got a trip coming up this weekend, so stay tuned for that one, and we'll see you on the next one. It's really hard to find the trail. Really kind of overgrown and really soggy. Sunset's looking good up here. Feels good to be out today.